In the world of Buckshot Roulette, nothing is as it seems. Despite the simple premise and the incredibly short runtime, the age-old adage of the devil in the details is all too fitting. In a game of death, anything goes, and the rules seldom make room for those who walk willingly into the belly of the beast time and time again. But before we explore a world void of God's existence, it's time to give credit where it's due. Kudos to WizardWolf1020 for locating the Easter egg in the previous thumbnail. If you look closely, you'll see Yoko Taro's signature mask in the bottom right hand corner. If you're new to the channel, I've started playing a game with viewers where I hide an Easter egg in the thumbnail of each of my videos. The first person to state what and where it is in the comments gets a shout out in the following video. I'd also like to give a shout out to the amazing artist Bill Excluido, who granted me permission to use his work in my video. Links to his social media are in the description down below. Now, back to the matter at hand. The game abruptly begins with the unnamed protagonist waking up in a dilapidated bathroom. From the state of things and the graffiti on the walls, it's clear that this was not a reputable institution, but rather a place where people could indulge in their darkest desires. A nearby bottle of prescription drugs offered an even more lucid experience for those willing to take the risk. Undeterred by the messages scrawled on the walls, the protagonist burst open the bathroom door and made his way to the game room. Before he entered, he paused for a moment to soak in the music blasting from the club at the bottom floor. He knew better than anyone that once he crossed its threshold, his life would never be the same again. As he kicked open the door, a mysterious figure awaited him from across the table. Obscured by the shadows, only his eerie mask lined with a row of jagged teeth and his gloved hands could be seen from the darkness. Before the game could begin, however, a signed general release of liability was required to play. Although the contents of the contract remained unread, the terms were binding nonetheless. With the legalese out of the way, the game had commenced. The rules were simple. Survive 3 rounds of Russian roulette with the aid of items such as alcoholic beverages, cigarettes, handcuffs, expired pills, and saw blades. Enough to get any party started. As each round progressed, the dark nature of the dealer became very apparent. The person who sat across from the table was not a human, but rather a creature who relished in this agonizing game of death. Not once did he utter a single word of regret or issue a complaint. The nightmarish smile crudely pasted on his face symbolized his twisted mind and the insatiable appetite he had to watch people writhe in agony as they faced their inevitable deaths. Before the second round of Buckshot Roulette could begin, the protagonist caught a brief glimpse of a bloodied contract. The name written on the dotted line was shocking. It was none other than God himself. For reasons unknown, he had wagered his life against the evil dealer and lost everything, but more on this later. The third and final round had a bit of a twist. The doctor who had been on standby with his defibrillator was dismissed. There would be no coming back this time. Only one of the 2 players would emerge victorious with the greatest prize of all, life. In the end, the dealer took a face full of lead, and the protagonist left with a briefcase full of cash, and the shotgun that nearly spelled his doom. It would serve as a reminder that even the worst vices can be overcome with good intentions. Well, at least that's a story they want you to believe. The truth was much more sinister. The cash was simply a means to continue the vile existence the protagonist had been cursed with, enabling the cycle to continue once more. In the final round, the dealer didn't die. In fact, it was his unnatural hands that granted the protagonist the prize money before he bid him farewell. It's clear that something supernatural was afoot, and that the world as we knew it had fallen to chaos. If you recall the bloody waiver that was signed by God himself, then the state of things finally starts to make more sense. In retrospect, the club and all of the events that took place within its walls were representative of a world where the devil reigned supreme. Nothing was sacred, and even something as valuable as one's life could be wagered for a measly payout, much like how we assign a dollar amount to our lives every time we clock in for work. And what about the drugs? The quaaludes might numb our senses, but when the buzz wears off, the pain returns in full force. Not to mention the club itself, a welcome distraction from the things that truly matter, and yet another form of escapism at our disposal. In a world without God, even death itself didn't offer the brief moment of respite one would hope for. The pearly gates of heaven had been replaced with barbed wire and spikes. The land of milk and honey had been replaced by a hellscape where metal rained down upon those foolish enough to enter. The ultimate price had been paid, and there was no escape. Unless, of course, this was all simply an elaborate allegory for addiction. I'll let you decide. And that's all for this video. If you enjoyed it, be sure to like and subscribe. It lets me know you want more content just like this. Click on these videos on screen to continue your journey through the world of Buckshot Roulette, and I'll be there to guide you when you arrive. Consider becoming a member for exclusive perks like emojis, members-only videos, and more. Or check out my Ko-fi page if you want to support me in a more personal way. Until next time, it's the Inhuman One signing out. Join the Inhuman community today.